Thank you so much. We've got the all clear, so we've worked out those difficulties. So at this time, we're going to call the Town of Magnolia Park regular Town Council meeting of May 4th, 2021 to session. Roll call, please.
Darrell Berry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Here. Councilmember Green.
Here.
Councilmember McConnell.
Here.
And Dr. Smith.
Here.
Thank you so much. At this time, let us stand for our invocation, please.
Gracious Father God, we honor and magnify your name. We're so thankful that you are available to us. We invite your presence to be with us tonight, that all of our words, actions, and decisions are based on your will and your plan for our lives. Keep us ever humble and please be with those who are going through difficult times. May each one be encouraged by your love. And Father, save us in your kingdom, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I'll pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. And just our apologies in advance. I'm working on a new mask, and it may muffle the sound a little bit. Just let me know if you can't hear or if something wasn't clear, and I'll be glad to repeat it. So at this time, we're going to attend to our agenda. We have you have an agenda in front of you. So if you do have an agenda, please feel free to follow along. And those online, we had it posted out there, so feel free to follow along with us. At this time, are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
In item 6A, it refers to the application as 2020-01. It's really 2021-01. Correct. The site review application under item 6A. And site review 2020-01 should be 2021-01. So it's 2021-01 for the final site plan.
Thank you so much. So noted. Are there any other additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda?
Yes, there's a rearrangement of, okay, never mind.
Nothing else from staff.
Okay. Thanks so much. Seeing that we have a pen and ink change, and we'll make that on our agendas. So Resolution 2021-01 is how it should read for the record. With that, seeing that there's no other changes or corrections, your pleasure as it relates to motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, motion that we approve the agenda with the adjustment of resolution 2021 to reflect 2021-01.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as corrected or amended. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is carried. And
Another, I just noticed this 7A, SR 2021-1, 2020. So
That area too.
that should also be 21.
Thank you.
thanks so much. We'll make that pen and ink change as well, and it would be corrected for the record. Thanks so much, Vice Mayor. Okay. With that, we have items for our consent agenda. We have item 2A, and this is minutes of our regular Town Council meeting of April 20th, 2021. And that's the only item we have at this time. Are there any other items to be considered, to be removed, or added to the consent agenda? Hearing none. Motion, please.
And so move that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved in second. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is carried. Thanks so much. The chair would like to just take a moment of personal privilege, which I should have done earlier, to say thank you, Councilman Smith, for being here tonight. We understand and we continue to pray for you and your family. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks. So, okay. With that, we'll continue on our agenda. We have our Palm Beach County League of Cities, item 5, Amity.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a scheduling update. The next League of Cities meeting is actually a virtual installation. May is the typical installation month. So mark your calendars this year because of COVID-19. This will be a virtual event. but the date is May 26, 2021 at 12 noon. And it will be a call-in/web attendance. The details have not yet been provided, but as soon as I have them, I will relay them to Town Manager Metcalf, and he can get them to you. And that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for our meeting? Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll continue on our agenda. Our next item is item 6A, and this is resolution number 2021-01, approving final site plan SR application number 2020-01, Meritage Homes Incorporated, 462 dwelling units, multifamily townhomes. At this time, we'll go to the meeting.
Thank you, sir. I'll read it by title. As you said, it's Resolution 2021-04, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, confirming approval of land development application number SR 2021-01 pertaining to a site plan for a 14.67 acre property located on Lakeshore Drive, northeast of the Congress Avenue and 45th Street intersection, Mangonia Park, Florida. Parcel control numbers 4443430521000050 44434305210000 006044434305210000 007044434305210000 008044434305210000 009044434305210000 44434305210000 4443430521 00000120 4443430521 0010 4443430521 0020 4443430521 0030 4443430521 0040 providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you so much. You have heard it all read into the record. Okay, at this time, we're going to, Ken, if you have anything just before we begin. Okay. Okay, thanks so much. So we do have the applicants present. Okay. So we can just ask applicant or representative, if you just come forward, please. And if you would, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Can I remove my mask or?
Certainly. Okay. Yeah, we have enough space and barriers.
Thank you. I can hear it better.
Okay. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm Jared Mercer on behalf of the applicant tonight for the Enclave of Mangonia Park project.
And Jared, before you continue, let me just swear you in. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
So we appreciate review of this project. I know it's been a lengthy process. Just have a couple comments on the conditions of approval. Would now be the appropriate time to go through this? Okay. So for the conditions that Van has proposed to be submitted prior to any construction on the site, we would like to move that deadline to prior to certificate of occupancy, which is more typical of development project. There's a few items of construction that we'll need to complete to get the project underway. Some of those items, and these are particular to conditions number 7, as far as the plat being signed by all applicable parties. And also number 20, which has several items, we requested that deadline be moved to certificate of occupancy rather than prior to any construction. Like I said, there's going to be some construction required to get the project going, clearing of the site in order to build the road for West Place and the entrance, along with other items. In particular, number 20A calls for the final detailed landscape plans with all piping systems shown in the background for administration and review. The plan shall clearly show the landscape directive regarding new and existing vegetation along West Place. The vegetation and landscape along West Place is a relatively new item that's going to take some coordination with the town. For example, there's no existing irrigation in place. New material would need to be established. there's existing vegetation that will be removed for the construction of West Place, but that item, as far as landscaping along West Place, that's gonna take some coordination. That should not be required to hold up construction on the site, especially the construction that's already been approved for the extension of West Place.
Okay. I'm sorry, just before you do, just a point of clarification. On your document, you referenced 20, and ours are maybe reading a little different. Can you just read that section for us so that we can follow
Yeah,
along?
this is what I have for the draft conditions from Van.
Are you in the resolution, sir?
Okay, you're
That's,
reading
he's
from the
speaking of the
resolution.
resolution numbers, yes,
Oh,
sir.
thanks, we were reading from the letter itself.
You know, the letter is similar, but a little different. So this is item number 20, and in particular, A from that section.
Okay, now we're following. Okay, thanks.
So like I said, these types of conditions are more typical for certificate of occupancy rather than prior to any construction. There's quite a bit of construction that needs to get underway for that West Place construction and for the rest of the project. So we asked those items to be moved to certificate of occupancy. And I would request that the landscape along West Place be removed from this condition altogether, as that's a new item that needs to be coordinated with the town separately and not hold up construction of the rest of the project.
Okay, and we're just making some notes. If you could just go back to that first request you had, and now that we're on the same page.
Sure, that was item 7, to have the plat signed by all applicable parties except for the town, submitted in a recordable form prior to any construction on the site. Like I said, we are fine with the condition, just the deadline of prior to any construction on the site is too restrictive, as some of these items take coordination that will need to be figured out with the town. Again, we're not against that condition of number 7, just the deadline prior to any construction.
And your request is that that item also be at CO?
Right. Prior to certificate of occupancy.
Okay, well, let you continue. You have the floor.
That was all I had to begin on the conditions.
Okay. Alrighty, so at this point, what we'll do, it may be appropriate to have some responses. We'll go to Mitty, then we have our planner here as well. Mitty?
Sure, thank you. And just so the council is aware, the resolution, as Jared indicated, does have several conditions. These are all of the conditions that have been provided by your consultant team. So by Van, you'll see Van's letter is also in there, David Stambaugh's letter is in there, NILSA staff report is in there. There are a few conditions that legal put in as well, conditions of approval. So this resolution does contain the comprehensive suite of conditions of approval. With that said, I will address the specific items that Jared mentioned. Item 7, the plat condition is written the way that it is because the site is currently several parcels that are not unified. The site plan cannot be conditioned on recording of the plat at CO. It must be at prior to construction. The plat approval item is next on your agenda, but that does need to occur much sooner than CO because technically they can't build over property lines on parcels that are not combined already unless they're combined by some legal instrument or by plat. So that needs to remain as it's written in the resolution currently. With regard to 20A, these conditions are written at the time prior to construction because as you can see from the list of conditions, there are several permits that have yet to be provided to the town, which impacts several things. So in order to get this agenda item on tonight's hearing and to get this processed, those conditions of approval do need to remain. I won't give you an opinion on the landscaping. If Van is on the phone, he can address that specific condition. That was his condition in terms of landscaping to be installed on West Place. But I will say that
You said you won't give an, after that, I didn't understand the word you said.
So the condition to install landscaping on West Place, that came from Van. So if he's on the phone, he can address that more properly than I can. That was not a legal comment. The timing is such that at construction is required because even for 45th Street, the connection there is another permit that has to be obtained. So that's why we're saying no construction can occur until all those permits are in place. I understand his point about there being coordination with the town regarding the landscape plan, but that shouldn't be a lengthy coordination. The landscape plan is part of the site plan package for the main site, so I don't expect that to be an issue that causes delay. But CO is not the proper time. All these are written to be conditions of approval based on permits and construction for a reason, because once we get to CO, that's way too late in the game. And you guys you're not used to seeing so many conditions, so if you have questions on any other conditions that he didn't speak to, I'm happy to answer those as well, if this is the appropriate time to do that.
Certainly, we thank you. What we're going to do is we'll address those two items so that we kind of follow along in logical order. If our engineer is on the phone, we'll have him address. Okay. All right, so we'll come back to that. Right. Go right ahead. Certainly.
So, and Mitty, I'm glad you went through that. I agree. Some of those items under 20 and the other conditions, there's different timing associated with those. We understand some of those permits are required prior to construction anyway. So Dalton would like to go through those items more one-on-one and speak to those a little more specifically. But those are our initial thoughts and requests as far as the conditions.
No, certainly. Just before we do that, if I may, so that we have no issues unaddressed, Nilsa is here. If you had some comment as it relates to the landscaping, Nilsa? And just for the record, Nilsa, of course, is our planner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor, council members. As you see on the staff report, this has been a lengthy process. It started in November 2019. On page 3, you have a graphic showing the process that we went through. So with regard to the specific conditions of landscaping, I think it's appropriate the way it is on the resolution with regard to West Place. It needs to happen all at the same time. And I fully agree that most of the conditions on the 20, they need to be done before the building permits, so before construction, because at CO it's just too late. So I fully agree with that, and all what I can say is that the applicant also provided the board material, as you can see here on this chart. So the color palettes are here. So what will happen is before they have a CO, and obviously that needs to be fully planned. I don't know if they're gonna get COs per buildings or how we are going to proceed on that, but I definitely will be fact checking that the buildings comply with these color palettes. So, or CO will not be issued if they do not comply with the approval that is by town council.
Okay. All right, thanks so much, Nilsa. Ken?
Mayor, we do have man on the line. I'm going to ask him to get some clarification on his thoughts on landscaping on West Place. Ken, if you will.
You want to talk to me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the question?
Get some clarification on what your intent was in regard to landscaping on West Place.
Well, those are all existing plants we discussed in the telephone conference. And it was agreed they would either be protected or replaced or relocated. And we discussed relocations with regards to the design of the roadway, and came to an agreement of how the landscape plans were going to be adjusted.
Okay. Now, specifically, the request was to remove it from the consideration at this time altogether. So that would be the question for Van as well?
To relocate.
Yes, I was.
Right. His ask was that item 7, and if I'm standing to be corrected, please do. But the request from the applicant was to have item 7 removed altogether.
It'd be 20A, Mayor.
I'm sorry, 28, I'm sorry. I misquoted. 28, I'm sorry, 28. Okay, you may have to repeat it to him. Yes. The applicant's ask was to have 20A removed altogether.
The applicant has to have 28.
What is 28? I'm sorry.
That's the landscape.
From Westlake.
I'm sorry, I don't have the resolution right in front of me. I should. Refresh me on what 28 is.
Let's see.
The landscaping on West Place.
Yeah, what does it specifically say?
Yeah, want to read that for him, Ken?
Oh,
What does 28 say?
Final detailed landscape plans with all piping systems shown in the background for administration and the town's utility department to review. Plans shall clearly show the landscape directed regarding new and existing vegetation along West Place.
They've got to submit landscape plans.
If I can clarify,
Jared is speaking now. Can you hear him, Van?
Now,
hi Van, Jared Mercer, can you hear? Van, can you hear me?
yeah,
So if I can clarify, we're not asking the landscape plan portion to be removed. We've already submitted final detailed landscaping with all the piping shown in the background for review.
oh, I didn't see anything on West Place.
Yeah, there's an additional sentence. The plan shall clearly show the landscape directive regarding new and existing vegetation along West Place. We're requesting that be removed from this condition that is prior to construction, as that needs to be coordinated separately with the town.
The intent prior to construction was the landscape plan. You can't do
Okay.
vegetation.
Right, and we've submitted that,
The
yeah.
landscape plans would be submitted back, because I never got any plans, landscaping plans from West Place.
Right, there haven't been any landscape plans prepared for West Place.
Right, so what I'm saying is I want the landscape plans completed, finalized as I detailed, which you've probably already done. And, that would be submitted prior to any construction.
Right, and that's what we have an issue with. Those plans haven't been coordinated. This is a relatively new item. Those need to be prepared, coordinated. There's no existing irrigation out there for the
These
trees.
things have all existed without irrigation. It's a few ponds and that was it. And I discussed it with Mike Spruce and, I believe Maria at the telephone conference. And there didn't seem to be any great heartache. I'm not looking to have them relocated before construction. I just want them, all that reflected in the plans that are submitted before construction. We want to go over them at the pre-con.
Okay, can you state what your understanding from that agreement was as far as the vegetation along West Place?
Yeah, well, I can, to the council?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, I can tell them that the intent was the plans be upgraded to address that vegetation.
To address the existing vegetation?
Please swear me so I can ask Van some very pointed questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
get
is
close to the
very
microphone.
weird because there's a delay.
Get close to the microphone. Tell Van.
The intent of that, resolution item was that the, plans, the full plan showing West Place
Yep.
and the existing vegetation would be,
Van, this is Dante.
Hold on. Let me swear you in. Tell Van to hold on, please.
Van, hang on one second.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Van, so let me just clarify something. So we've submitted plans on West Place and the whole entire project. You reviewed those. Now, the latest comment, from what I understand, is that you want us to just show on the West Place plan what the existing vegetation is that's going to be removed. Is that correct?
I'm very distracted by the YouTube. Hang
Tell
on,
him
I
to
gotta
get
shut
rid
it
of
off.
YouTube and only use the audio. He's on the phone.
Come on, I think we should
In regard, now we're doing this in
All right,
regards to
Dante, I'm
landscaping, the
That's
idea
good.
was to
We're talking
the
to my.
existing landscape.
Okay, tell Van, just a moment.
I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead, Ken, we're gonna.
Relocate or replace, so on the existing landscape.
Correct. So the question that I, under the way that I understand it is this. We have West Place that's existing right now. There's some vegetation that's there. Some of it's nuisance species, some of it is of material that is of substance. And so what I interpreted Van to say is, show me a plan that has West Place on it, the road alignment, show me what existing vegetation is there to be removed, and then you come in and replace it. And I'm fine with that. However, this comment that comment just came to us a week ago. And we've gotten at least 3 or 4 lists of comments from Van. What we're saying is this: we have to go out and actually build West Place, the roadway itself. We're going to remove that vegetation that's there. We'll replace it with new trees. Personally, I think we'll plant oak trees because I think that they'll look a lot nicer. It'll create a nicer streetscape. There's going to be a sidewalk that's there. And I think it'll be consistent with what's happening on the internal part of the community itself as far as how we're landscaping the internal part of the community itself, and also create a buffer from the folks that live on West Place looking out towards the Auto Nation. So that's what we would be prepared to do. One of the concerns that we have is that in the event, or when we go to plant those trees out there, there isn't any irrigation. And as we all know, we're coming up on the summer months here, and so if we go ahead and plant any landscaping out there, you know, everyone's like, well, if you water it in for 30 days, it'll be okay, and we all know that that's not the case. Grass turns brown, trees start dying, and then there's concerns about who replaces the tree, who maintains the trees. So this is why I was saying that there's probably a little bit more than is required than what, you know, Van's comment is based on. So that's why we were saying, let us go to work, let us start building West Place. This will be something that we can work out with Van on the side to say, hey, look, we're all in accord, we're taking out these trees, we're going to plant trees 50 foot on center, 30 foot on center, whatever that it may be. This is the specification of tree that we're going to plant. Now, there was a comment that was made that we have not provided you with all our permits and that we...
Just before we go, what we're going to do is we want to be logical in our order, so I think Ben may have a comment to that, then we'll come right to you.
Well,
It pertains to this?
Yes, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to go take the resolution, and I'd like to go point by point now. I don't have a comment on all of them, but I do have a few of them. So I think if we go in order...
Right, and we'll do that, but what we want to do is give the opportunity for them to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Right, so we don't want to get, you know, too weedy with it, so we want to keep it clear. So we'll have Van address that issue, then we'll go to you next.
Very good.
The plans to be done. It's no big rock and roll. It just described exactly what would be on the plans verbally. So just put them on the plans, and that's all I want before construction.
Okay.
All I was working with was the existing plans.
Understood.
I wasn't looking for a all new, and I wanted to maintain it. I just simply have the existing plants relocated as needed for the roadway. That's all. They're gonna be getting into them anyway, so they might as well just put them to the side and then just stick them back in.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out real well that when you do that, because then they don't survive, and that's my main concern, is that there isn't any irrigation that exists there today. And even if you water them for 30 days, I can guarantee you that they will die. And then there's going to be someone to be responsible for those. And so what I would like to do is that let's remove the trees, let's go build the road, we'll submit a plan to you, but I think that there's a little bit more thought that needs to be put into it to see how we're gonna get irrigation so that they do last and that those trees, so once we plant the trees in the ground, I don't want this to happen. Meritage Homes will go plant all those trees in the ground.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to get saddled with vegetation that's going to require irrigation in the public right of way.
And that's the concern that we have as well. So this is why I'm saying, let's put our heads together in the interim and let's talk through how do we best serve that roadway and to replace that vegetation. Because anything that
I'm
you plant.
looking for minimal, what's there, just relocate it out of your way.
I do this.
I talked with the engineer about it, we came up, we relocated a couple of the ponds. They were doing it on several of the projects I just finished, they uprooted a bunch of ponds, put them to the side, kept the roots right, all of them up.
Yeah, yes, sir. I completely understand that. It's a requirement here in Palm Beach County, and I can tell you that I just replaced 42 of them.
Well, I'll work with you on this, I don't want to hold it up, but I would like
Yeah.
the most
Well,
final
and that's-
landscape plan you
Can't
can
finish.
develop. Because I'm telling you, I have not seen West Place.
Understood. We
And I'd
will work
just
with
like
you.
you to put the absolute minimum on there to put it on record that you're gonna do something with West Place.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm good with that.
I can't hear you, Sherry, what?
He's asking for the landscape plan, it has to be part of the final site review. There are no installation of any trees anywhere, you're just saying.
Yeah, all Van is looking for is another plan showing, yes, it's just a plan submitted.
Okay. And then.
I didn't hear what Ms. Alberry said. I wanted her to repeat. Ms. Alberry, what did you say?
The code requires that a landscape plan be submitted with final site review. It doesn't require that you would develop West Place or install trees where the die, it's just that they need the landscape plans for final approval. That's what he's asking for.
May I ask, Mr. Mayor, may I ask
Yes,
Van Cott a question?
Councilwoman Green. Yes, go right ahead. Yes,
Can
go
I-
right ahead.
Mr. Van Cott? Andy Green, did I hear you say, because you were talking about one of my favorite of this whole project, landscape, and Dante already knows that. Did I hear you say you did not want irrigation in the middle of the median?
Anything in West Place, it's a public right of way, becomes the responsibility of the town unless there's an agreement to do maintenance and operations by the HOA. Those are the options, but if you put irrigation and plants that need a lot of work, we don't have the staff to really start maintaining heavily landscaped right of ways.
Mr. Mancott, Addie again, and if I'm understanding, I don't know anything about development, but, okay, is the irrigation going to go in before the landscaping?
There is no irrigation that exists.
Okay, that's why you all are losing me, so, but that's why, okay, but he said, Badcott said, I don't want irrigation in the middle of in other words, you're saying to me, I don't want landscape in the middle of the median. And then you said there's not going to be irrigation.
The town can have irrigation in the road if you want, but I don't recommend it as it creates a lot of work for town staff.
And
They're pretty busy right now, not fooling around with irrigation systems or hiring contractors.
And I'd like to say one other thing is, Dante, okay?
There's a lot of
What I'm seeing right now is a little disturbing to me because I don't know about my council people, but I have to listen to him first because he's our town engineer. Okay? And then it sounds to me like you and our engineer are having a little bit of, okay, and that makes me uncomfortable. So, wait, okay. And I just want you all to get together and make sure everything is all right from the beginning. That this is just the first. And I see what's happening now, so.
I just want at least a landscape plan showing intent to do something with West Place is submitted with the final compilation of all the final drawings and all the permits.
Van,
But we need to have all that documentation in hand prior to any construction. Now, the applicant is more than welcome to go build 45th Street. That is out of our jurisdiction. It is permitted through the county. It was negotiated with the county, and the county owns everything within the right of ways. So the applicant can go out and start construction on that tomorrow, depending upon where they are with pre-cons and, county coordination.
Dante?
Mayor, I'm gonna just make a, Van, I'll work with you. There's something that I could potentially offer you that I think would benefit the town, as far as that landscaping and maintenance and irrigation of West Place. And that would also be a temporary, consideration for the project while it's under construction. And I think that.
I don't want to become the landscape architect for the
No,
town.
Van.
This is really a negotiation with Ken, but I'll be happy to entertain some thoughts. I just want technically to have some plans showing at least the bare bones graphic, nothing major, just to show intent.
Okay.
That's filed prior to construction with all the other plans.
Okay, I'll work with Ken on an alternative plan to where that we can work out. But we'll give you what you need, Van.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Once all this is in and you're underway, we can work out what we want to do out there. Ken, if you're okay with that, and the mayor, and the council.
Well, just so that we're clear, in terms of what your position is, you're going to, I think it's clear between the two, the applicant and the engineer, that this is what he's requiring. That's clear. Right, so what isn't clear at this point is whether you're still saying we have a process that we're going through tonight. That is the consideration of this resolution. So your request at this point, with that understanding is, and I'll give you the floor.
I mean, are we moving on here?
He's asking.
No, a specific question to you, Councilman, I'll get right to you, Councilman Green. The specific question is, Van is stating that he wants this plan, right? We won't get that plan tonight. Right, so, okay, so you want to just share that with Van and see what his position is at this point regarding tomorrow?
Van is okay with that.
With tomorrow, okay.
He has a plan prior to construction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what the condition currently says, so that's no revision to the condition. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor.
That's fine.
Okay, great, just wanted to make sure we're all clear. Okay, great. Councilman Green, and then we'll go back to.
Okay, still about the landscape.
Okay, I'm sorry, just point of order. We have Councilwoman Green, and then we'll go back to Dante.
I hope I'm still on landscaping, and I hope this is a yes or no question. Now, we are talking about landscaping, but you said these right here were samples of the wall?
No.
What did you say these were samples of what?
These are the color palette that will be the walls. These are the colors, and this is the.
Colors that would be, I didn't understand.
For the buildings.
Oh, you said the building. Okay.
Okay, these are the colors of the building.
That's okay, no, that's okay, I had it wrong. Dante,
Okay, so,
I haven't answered my question, this is a yes or no question.
okay, we're still on landscaping? Go right ahead.
Okay, we're still on landscaping, let me ask you a question. So, you all are talking about trees and stuff, right? But this doesn't have anything to do with the wall though, because when I'm sitting here visioning trees and a wall, but we right now are talking about trees, so this doesn't have, we're gonna have a wall there too, aren't we?
There's no wall.
Pardon?
There is no wall.
On West Place, be
There's no wall on
specific.
West.
There's not gonna be a wall that separates?
No.
Not on West Place, there is a wall.
That's not my question, is there gonna be a wall at all that separates at the, okay?
There will be a perimeter buffer around our whole entire project.
What do you mean holding part of project? Explain to me.
Well,
let's see if we have,
Okay, I go, okay, if we're gonna,
The wall will be around this.
oh, the whole project.
Yes, the wall will be around the.
So there is a wall.
Yes,
Oh.
but not on West Place.
Oh, that's okay, you answered my question.
To the handout that I gave you.
No, I just saw this the other night. You answered my question. I don't want to change the subject. I don't want, Dante, I don't want to get into anything that we keep, I don't want, we're talking about this.
Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Okay?
all right, thanks so much. I'm sorry, just any other questions as it relates to landscaping?
I just saw this, sir. You probably have it. I didn't get it.
All righty, so no other questions regarding landscaping? I'm sorry, just point of order.
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
We can move on.
All righty, so with that, we have a understanding, we're clear about the landscaping. Are we going to go to our engineer here, just to, go right ahead, Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is David Stanwell, Calvin Giordano. I just want to mention, because the landscape plan's not prepared, we do have pipes that are proposed for the right-of-way in the green areas. Let's just make sure that we don't plant oak trees and things like that on top of pipes. So just want to make the comment that has to be accommodated in whatever is provided in the future.
Understood. So in a lot of municipalities, when we plant trees in the right of way, there's a certain species of trees. So this is why I was saying that we would work along with the town, because it's going to be some thought that goes behind that. Some folks prefer oaks, some prefer crepe myrtle, some prefer breakaway trees. So there's a whole different variety of it, because there's so many different disciplines that are involved in it. And Dave, I was thinking about you the whole time when they start talking about that, because obviously utilities are in the way, not so much storm, but the water and the sewer, so I'm concerned about that. So I'm good with that. What I'd like to do is, I would like to take the resolution and go point by point. Now, I don't have a clarification for each one of them, but I do want to touch on certain ones, if I may. The first one, the applicant, and I think that this was a comment from Ben, the applicant shall pay the town's traffic.
I'm sorry, Dante, if you just quote what line it is that you're referring?
What page, Mr. Mayor?
It's page 2.
Page 2? If you could just also,
Bullet point number 1.
Page
okay,
two.
number 1.
2-1, okay.
It says the applicant shall pay the town a transportation or a traffic impact fee in the amount of, $91,044 prior to the issuance of the first building permit. Now, I would not disagree with this if all the roads that we were able to access through the community and everything else. However, we're building West Place. We are doing some improvements on Boardman. We have also taken on additional stormwater drainage. So just for the purposes of just magnitude, the construction of West Place alone is costing us $156,000. Van had during one of his engineering reviews, had asked for additional drainage methods to be added to the project. That came out to a total roundabout numbers, $85,000. So as you can see, we are far in excess of this $91,000. So it's in my opinion, or I would request that this condition kind of just, it washes itself out based on us constructing all of West Place, improving all of the drainage, paving that portion, that cul-de-sac portion of Boardman, and managing the drainage on Boardman as well. Not to mention the fact the additional drainage behind those homes with that lake that's there. It's quite a considerable amount of money.
Okay. I can answer that, but I'm going to go to the attorney.
Yeah, sure. And I wish that this would have, this is in Van's letter, this is a code requirement, so your code sets the impact fees. Those are not, they're not negotiable, so they're required by the code. So we don't get around that as easily as you make it sound.
Okay, well, again, it's not as easily as it sounds. However, so then do I get credited for the money that we're spending? Do I get impacted credits?
And that is a conversation that can be had. However, this was a condition that Van put in his letter. That's the amount. He is the town engineer. He sets the fees pursuant to the town's code of ordinances.
We had some conversations with him about that, and he did say to bring it up here because that no one else would be able to make that decision. So that's the reason that we're here discussing it now. So we are spending in excess of about $240,000. And on top of that, you want us to pay another $90,000.
Okay. Let me just see if I can help out, and then we'll go. Of course, as Amity stated, that we're talking two separate things. One, of course, is the access that's necessary to get into the complex, which, of course, is the responsibility of the developer.
Sure.
Right? Which is totally separate and apart. However, much like a lot of municipalities, state, county, and such will have impact fees, which is totally separate from the cost. Generally, what they would just say, in terms of what we sort of use the vernacular in my discipline, the cost of doing business. Why? And so the building of West Place would be the cost of doing business. It would be unassociated with any other fee that might be imposed. And so as opposed to the, I'm trying to word it from what I think you're asking, is that in lieu of the amount of monies that we're spending, right, to gain access to the property that we're going to be developing, we're going to ask that you waive the impact fees. That would be the request in simple?
Yes.
Okay. Let's,
Put it in the form of a credit, I guess is more exactly. Dan, would you like to speak on the impact fees?
Well, all the resolution says is that they're acceptable. I think any negotiations in regards to the impact fee being applied or give out a credit to the developer is a discussion for another time. All the resolutions doing the same impact fee is calculated per credit.
What time would that be?
So I would bring it back to the council, just do a formal request from the developer to, for Meritage to, who would like to discuss having this credited or effort to build this project. And then it'll be up to council to be a completely separate topic of discussion.
okay. All righty, just before we put it out to council, we'll go to the applicant. Would that be okay? Would that be agreeable that
Yeah,
we don't want to hold?
Yes, we
go ahead.
can discuss that. So I just want to make one comment. West Place was a right-of-way that had a platted right-of-way for many, many years. This particular project has been under contract 4 times, and because of the access issues for one reason or another, it's been problematic, right? So I kind of look at the benefit of this. Yes, that West Place is being constructed in order to facilitate our project. However, there's a benefit for us because to gain access to the site. However, I think that there's also an equal balance for the town to gain 162 units, 320, 360.
Right, which is a sort of a side benefit that generally happens.
We can discuss how we work that out. I just wanted to obviously just make mention of that. The other thing is that there are currently 4 residents that live there. We're also not only those 4 residents, but I guess around that little pond area itself, we're putting in additional drainage to help enhance that for them so that this way there isn't any flooding that's there. And we're managing all of that in addition to on Borden as well and paving that cul-de-sac area, taking all that drainage, within our storm system. And again, we worked with Van through those, and he wanted everything, piped, and so we worked through all those things. All we're asking is let's just try to be fair about what we're asking. If there's impact fee credits are available, and we can kind of do a trade-off. We know in the end, we're still going to spend a lot more money than what the impact fee credits are. And so we're just trying to see if there's some kind of balance that we can work through.
Certainly, and we do have some comments from council, so we'll go to Councilman Smith and then Councilwoman Green.
All right. Dante, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
We having a whole lot of conversation about the beauty of West Place being constructed. With the amount of units that we're looking at proposing to put up there, that's a no-brainer. That has to happen. And we're putting a whole lot of conversation on from irrigation to drainage to tree removal and all those things. We need to be careful with what we ask for, what we say. We need to have we need to be on point when we have this conversation. It's necessary and thank you if this development goes forward, that we construct the West Place. You can't get around that. It needs to be constructed properly. We need to have drainage, regardless whether it floods or not. It has some trees, whether we can transplant them and grow green again or not. I'm not a fan of trees or that many trees. If we do go with a tree or a tree, it need to be lower maintenance trees. Just my opinion, you know. I don't like black olive, I don't like oak, I like something lower maintenance, zero scape that doesn't have to use so much water. So you guys can have that conversation later on, if necessary, if you're talk about the legal stuff. But let's be real about how and what and how we construct what's place. It has to be done right. Correct? Am I correct?
Absolutely.
That's unnecessary.
Understood.
And so that's first and foremost. And that's a condition that our engineer kind of put in the conversation that he's asking. Basically, it sounds like just making sure it's worded for the final site plan, correct, on some things, correct?
Yes, the van has reviewed the construction plans for West Place, and yes, West Place itself has, we're managing that stormwater from that road. However, in addition to, we had to do additional drainage to help and support that other area off of east of West Place that we took into our drainage system. So yeah, when you build a road, you have to provide the proper drainage for it. However, we're doing in addition to, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, you know, Mr. Duncan, you make it sound like, I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. You make it sound like you're doing this and you, how can you not? You have a lake back there, it's permitting required that drains is proper to South Florida Water Management District or any entity. So if you're gonna put those many units there and they're empty, right? So, I just see a whole lot of energy on some things that we want to go forward. If we can't go forward, and if that costs our engineer, I'm not saying everything he said, but he's our engineer. If you told him conditionally, respect and consider. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you're not, or you. I'm not saying you're not. But realistically, there's some things you gotta say. That's all I'm saying.
No, we have, because we've taken everything. When I saw the list that Van sent over, I reviewed it, and I said, you know something? Put it on our plans. Put it on our plans. Whatever he says, put it on our plans. We're not arguing that at all. All we're trying to say is that the consideration for that equated to $85,760. That's what we're saying. So we're just, again, we put it on the plans. That's exactly what Van wanted. We didn't refute a thing. We said, we're going to do exactly what he wants. We could have refuted a couple things, but we said, you know something, put it on the plan. We want to move forward. That's all that I'm saying. But no, I'm with you.
All righty.
I just, again, wanted that for consideration.
Okay, certainly. Councilwoman Green?
Yes, ma'am.
We're on the good foot, right? Okay, we're gonna stay on there as long as you don't do what you just did. $91,000 is nothing. And you said, no.
That's $555 a unit.
Dante, let me finish saying what I'm saying, okay? You said that like as if to say, I'm giving y'all a whole lot of money just to build that. That kind of hurt my feelings. So from now on, you want trying to make us feel like we love it. Just right, let's get there first. So don't kind of keep me on your side by trying to make us feel that you're doing us. Don't be fussy. A favor by giving us $91,000. Okay, that's all I have to say. That's not debatable.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on.
Thanks so much. Let's do this so that we can move on.
Sure.
If you would, what was the cost of the in addition to that you had to do, roughly?
So the West Place itself.
No. Just the in addition to the benefit that put to the other residents that you made mention of that you called in addition to. What was roughly the cost?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Right. What was roughly the cost of the in addition to items that you were referring to? Just roughly.
The stormwater management for the residents off to the east that are on West Place.
Just roughly, what was the cost?
$85,760.
That was the cost of the in addition to?
Yes.
Righty. So let's do this because we don't have any information in front of us.
Sure.
Right. I think the recommendation that we got from the engineer, that this conversation be had at another time. Because if not, then generally what happens, it's addressed at staff level. At some point, they calculate. Anyone who comes in and make an application, they're notified that there are impact fees. They can calculate it, let them know what it is, and which is what they've done here for you as well. That is 91,000 based upon the evaluation of the project. And so I think that it would be appropriate for us in terms of just getting through this process tonight, the resolution, would be to pick this conversation up later.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move on to the next.
But that's, let's see what other council has to say concerning it. Okay, that we just address this at another time. Okay, yeah, we don't want to hold up the process, so.
Okay.
Okay,
So
all right, go right ahead.
The next clarification that I have is number 7. So, Mitty, once the plat gets submitted, obviously we've signed or we'll execute the plat itself. We send that to you, you route it. Will we record it or will you record it?
No, I believe we will record that, and we're gonna, I don't know that we have it yet, but you've signed off on it. Once we get the full Mylars, whatever they are, the final version, we'll sign off on it, town will, and then it'll be recorded.
Understood. So, just for full disclosure, what will happen is that should we get approved here this evening, we will probably coordinate our closing for the end of the month sometime. So once we close on the property itself, we will execute the plat. Our plat attorney will sign that, and then we'll go ahead and transfer. So should this be delivered to the town, or should this be delivered to you?
To the town.
Okay, so we can go ahead and do that. So.
And I think the condition doesn't run afoul with what you just said.
I'm good with that.
So at this point, Dante, we don't have unified titles for the properties?
Sorry?
So there's not unification of
No,
at this point? There will be.
Once we close on the property, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the whole reasoning behind it. Once we close on it, it'll typically take like 3, maybe 5 business days. We'll rerun the title once we close on it itself, and we'll get all of that information provided to MIDI. It'll be packaged up or delivered to the town. It'll all be packaged up nicely.
Okay, all right, thanks so much. Okay, right ahead.
So number 10, I'm just asking for a clarification on that because I know that's the Palm Beach County TPS letter. So, and actually, we just received, before we came here today, we received our permit to make the connection to West Place and 45th. So we have all our permits with the exception of the FDEP permits. But I'll get to that later on here. So.
And if I could just respond to that so that the council understands, yes, 10 is dictated by the TPSO letter. The TPSO letter itself required those conditions to be expressly provided in the development order, which is your resolution. So that's why those are verbatim listed. And we also, at the town engineer's recommendation, attached as an exhibit the TPSO letter, just so that they track together.
We're perfectly fine with that. The next one that I have is 13. So for the purposes of practical and practicability, so Van had made a statement about that we can go work on 45th Street. However, there's this project, because of some of the complexities that it has with it, there's multiple disciplines that are going to be ongoing at one time. We need to work on West Place. However, we also need to build, we need to build 45th, do the improvements out on 45th, but we also have to build West Place at the same time. And now that we've received that permit, we're able to do so. One of the things, though, is that it's kind of hard to build the site or to construct all of this when you're placing material, placing equipment. I don't own the property that's there, and West Place is only a limited width. What our thoughts were is that we would construct 45th West Place and start clearing the main site itself. So this way, as all of that activity is going on, we're having materials delivered to the site, we're having our equipment brought on site, we're setting up our on-site personnel, and we have all 3 activities going on at the same time. For anyone who's done construction or has managed any kind of construction, or basically it's a sequencing exercise is what it is. And so being able to construct 45th West Place and then do the on-site work is going to be the most efficient way and the most less problematic way, let's just say. 14, we completely agree with that. We have already instructed all our staff that, and again, that's another reason that we've got to build West Place and we've got to start clearing on-site so that we can have our material deliveries on there. However, no one will be driving through the Bryn Mawr community on any one of those access roads at all.
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Green, go right ahead.
Okay, I just like, okay. You had me there, you started talking about three things you were doing at the same time. And I could understand your dilemma. And I was wondering where you were gonna go, and you stopped. So you never said anything that, is there a problem?
Well, Dan made a comment about that we could go build 45th Street, do the improvements on 45th Street tomorrow, and he's right, technically. However, from a practical standpoint, we would never do that because we don't have any place to stage any of the equipment or the barricades or our personnel that shows up. There's no place for them to go. However, the only thing that was lacking we needed a driveway permit for 45th West Place, and we received that an hour before we got here. So that helps a little bit. However, it just kind of helps get people off the street, but now I don't own all that property on 45th, the mini storage property. What we are proposing is that we would work on 45th, we would build West Place, we'd clear because we have to build that road, and we'd like to get on site where we can start clearing that site. All three activities need to be moving at one time in order to be efficient and to cut down on the disruption of all of the construction for not only the
So that's where you were going with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, but you stopped, okay, all right.
And so,
Just before you go, Dante, you're moving to another point now, or?
yes.
Okay, I think I heard Van, he may want to chime in, just a moment.
No, it's simply, I have no problem with the scheduling. That's, just means and methods. The bottom line is, nothing will happen until we have all the permits in hand. And, my comment on 45th was he had those permits in hand and we had no jurisdiction over them. So that was just a comment that technically, yeah, he could go out and do it, but there's no mandate to do that. He's probably right on the equipment and everything, so that's fine. I didn't make any condition about 45th being built right now.
Understood.
Okay.
I just referenced your comment. That was all, but I appreciate it, Van. So the next one, and just, again, just clarification, 15 MIDI. So this is in regards to the additional right-of-way for the Beacon property itself.
Right.
Okay, so do you want us to go get that recorded, or is that something that you record? And we provide you with a copy?
Well, I need to see it first. So I did speak with Mark several weeks ago. That's in process, but it's been memorialized here as a condition because it's not final yet, and I have not seen drafts of anything.
Was the draft provided? When do you think we'll have the agreed upon instrument?
I sent templates to Mark 3 weeks ago. I had a phone call with him.
Mark?
Mark Rickards.
Mark Rickards, yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to know?
Sorry.
But that's an easy, it's not a hard thing.
So once we get the agreement, do you want us to go record it once we agree upon it, or do you want to record it?
No, the town will record it as it states here, just to make it simpler. That way,
Okay.
we know that it happens.
Okay. The next one is just clarification. 18 is talking about landscaping being installed in accordance. Yep, I'm good with that. 20. So 20 has a few bullet points that I'm going to address. I think we addressed 20A. 20B. So 20B is a request for all the permits. So we have provided copies digitally and hard copies of the permits to the town. The only permit that was lacking was the one that we received today, and we will provide that one to you tomorrow. And then the only permits that are outstanding is our FDEP sanitary sewer and our water. I believe we all know what the issue is with that. And so that is way out of my control, and I should not be held up for that. So what I would suggest is that Meritage Homes be allowed to go out and construct the improvements out on 45th. We were able to go out and build West Place, and we are allowed to at least clear and grade on-site and in the interim while the town worked through, you know, getting those permits approved for us, because we've signed off on, provided to your utility engineer, been signed off on, and so on. I think that Mitty's also involved in trying to help work that through.
And-
So that this does not cause us any further delays to wait on that. There's still a lot of work we could be doing prior to getting to any of that utility work.
Okay. Committee, just before, we're going to go right to you, but so that we're clear for the record, you stated that the only permit that you had not submitted, you're going to be submitting tomorrow. What is that? What permit?
The FDEP permits for sanitary water, for sanitary sewer and water.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Thanks so much. We just wanted to be clear for the record. Committee? Councilwoman Green?
If I could, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, before we speak further, just because there is an ongoing dispute, I need to caution everyone that the particulars about that dispute should not be discussed on the record tonight. I can assure you that the language that's in here is in here for a reason. However, we have been working very, very hard in the last 2 weeks. We are very close. So my expectation, based on what I know, but unfortunately cannot disclose here tonight publicly, is that this should not be a holdup for you, okay? I can't, again, I'm sorry, and I just would caution all of you not to go into details about the dispute. There is an ongoing dispute, so, but understand that based on what I know as I'm sitting here right now, we are very close and this should not become an issue.
Certainly. So noted. Councilwoman Green?
You read my mind. And but I can speak to you after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got questions about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, if you want to ask questions, you know, tonight, just follow up with me independently.
Absolutely.
Okay, I ask him.
Okay.
All righty. Thanks. Okay.
No,
The next one that I have is more of a clarification. So 20F, executed valid bonds. So we do bonds all the time as far as when we do development work and all. Does the town have a standard bond form? Because we asked Van, he says he doesn't know.
I can get you one, certainly. That is that's an easy one. Yes, sir.
Let's see. Okay, so the next one is G, and we're currently working with Mitty and with Ken on the developers agreement. I think we've turned back some revised language to you, so you're currently reviewing that. Also H, which is and we're okay with that. So H, agree to record a temporary access easement maintenance acceptable to the town. Fine with that one. The CC&Rs, obviously, so just for purposes of sequencing, once we get the plat recorded, then we record the CC&Rs afterward, like the same day, actually, because what we do is we take the OR book and page number from the plat and we highlight them in the CC&Rs, so that this way, in the event that anybody needs to reference the plat, they know what the OR book and page number is. So that'll be done simultaneously. Actually, we do it the same day. We just bring the set with us and just handwrite them in, and then we record those. So I don't have any problem with that being done the same day. So one of the, so again, not to get too deep into the utility type of thing, I just want to clarify something. So early on, we had talked about COs, and so typically what happens is that, you know, a lot of conditions sometimes are set that will allow you to do all of this, but up until CO, meaning that the house is ready to be CO'd, but the town will not issue it. Basically, you're holding that as the teeth to the approval for us to perform. And I just wanted to clarify that because it was kind of misleading earlier, because even me in the audience, I kind of thought that you're not giving us the CO for any work. Like, if we have to perform on a particular item, we need to perform in order, you'll allow us to start the model building, but you will not issue the CO until all the performance items are completed and accepted and approved by the town. So I just wanted to just clarify that. Because item 24 says the applicant has agreed that there shall be no certificate of occupancy until all the infrastructure is in the ground. And yes, absolutely all of it. Now, I just want one clarification. So typically what we do is we'll go in and put the first lift of asphalt in, and then what we do is we build out the community, and then we come and put the final lift of asphalt. So this way, when we leave the community, it's got a brand new road. Dave, I don't know if you're familiar with, if you guys get that detailed into it, put the second lift on, and it looks brand new, right? Will that second lift of asphalt need to be bonded as well? Which I'm sure that it should, because most other bonds require that.
It typically is, and I'll defer to Van if he has an opinion, but it typically is.
Yeah, there you go. It's pretty common. It's common. Hey, Van, can that be the asphalt separate from the other type of bond that's out there? Be two different bonds. There's,
The bond is to go through construction. The proper
I mean, if we can-
documentation, you can request reductions of the bond.
okay, I was trying to cut down on the paperwork, but that's fine. I've done it either way.
Well, bonds would be more paperwork, and like I said, it'd be posted, and you can reduce it as you progress through the project and get, things certified and cleared.
Understood. I'm okay with that. I think really that's all that I have as far as any, questions with this. One of the things, again, that I would just, ask the council to consider is that we've been at this for a while. And, one of the things that we want to do is that we just really want to get out there and put this our project in the ground. Again, just becoming part of the Mangonia community. I mean, everybody in this room has worked, and there's probably other folks that aren't here this evening that have been as diligent, have probably, worked just as hard as anybody else in here. And they, again, should all be applauded. This wasn't an easy road, for any of us, right? However, we're now at this point where we can finally put this project in the ground. We can add an addition to Mangonia, another neighbor into the town of Mangonia Park, and really just move this, this thing to the next level here. Create some new housing, create some new opportunities for folks wanting to buy homes, for folks that are probably existing residents that are here that want to move into something new, a different type of product of living. And I would just ask that, to help move us along so that this way we can start these improvements. One of the things that, and I've mentioned this earlier about the construction of everything here is a sequential, it's like a giant dance. We've got to go out and do 45th and do those improvements, but we've also got to build West Place, but we've also got to build, the on-site. And if there's any opportunity for us to at least, and if we have to, and again, I don't want to speak for many, but it sounds like we're pretty close on one avenue, our final permits. However, there's still a lot of work for us to do on site. The work out on 45th is going to be a very coordinated effort. Obviously, we're going to be restricted to certain times of the day that we start and stop work to be considerate of the flow of traffic that's out there right now. We're going to be restricted to the work hours because of, residents are at home, right? And, nobody wants to see a bulldozer out there at 6 o'clock at night when you get home from a full day's worth of work. But, but we want to be out there, we want to be diligent, we want to minimize the construction activity that's out there. As quick as we can be on site, we start putting up our perimeter buffers, getting all our landscaping in. And again, we would be developing the site simultaneously with all the other disciplines. We'd go in, do all the earthwork, as the utilities were going in, all our perimeter buffers would start going up, our amenities would be built. So this way, by the time the model is finished, everything else is done around it. We've created that and all the folks that are all around us are not looking at, a giant pile of dirt or, construction materials being delivered. They're looking at landscaping. They're looking at a fence. There's some separation between the two of us to where it's a little bit nicer of a view than them looking at a bunch of, equipment out on site. So I would just ask for your consideration for that. Certainly, there's some wood to chop. We will be very diligent in performing as we have, and I think that our track record has proved that we are diligent in bringing a lot of these issues to resolution. But again, this project has been a challenge, but I think that in the end, I think that all of us, with all the hard work of every single person here, we'll all have something to be proud of. Yes, ma'am.
Which road are you going to be using, 45th or Congress?
I'm sorry?
Which road will you be, I guess, mostly traveling or using to enter and exit to work on this project? Congress or 45th Street?
West Place would be the main access going into the project.
West Place, you still use either 45th or Congress. Which word are you going to use more? Which road, 45th or Congress, which one?
I mean, coming to the site, obviously, you're going to have to use 45th.
Okay, that's all, yeah, okay,
Yeah, so
that's what I have.
I'm not real sure whether they'll be coming from the east or they'll be coming from the west, or, if they'll be coming down Congress and you turning around. I'm not sure. I mean, I can't, logistically, I'm not really sure. It all depends where the trades are coming from and where and how equipment is being delivered to the site. So typically, one of the things that we consider, because of the fact that, 45th is a road that's well traveled, it's an east-west collector, right? So we all have to be mindful. So typically, when they're coming to drop off equipment, they do it early morning, so that this way, the large trucks don't clog up or clutter up the traffic. They're typically, they're dropping equipment off at 5, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning before the real traffic starts. They're up and gone, material's been dropped off, and they go. And, again, that's one of the things that, is going to be pretty important, is that there's a whole sequencing of things that need to happen. That coordination will happen through your engineer and also who is ever conducting the inspections at the time. I mean, I don't know what it is for like utilities. I mean, Dave, I don't know if that's your office that'll be doing that or not, and Van's doing the civil stuff. So certainly it's going to be a coordinated effort, with the staff itself, but again, to have all three of those disciplines working simultaneously is the way to ensure that we get this thing done quickly.
Okay. All righty, thanks so much. And we really appreciate the presentation and the clarifications, and I have them all on for the record. So at this point in time, what we'll do, if there's any other council comments, then we'll go back to staff. Any comments or questions on the part of council? Okay. All righty, seeing that there's no council comments or questions, what we're going to do, Vice Mayor?
I did make a visit to the site, Catalina over off of Belvedere,
Yes, ma'am.
and I noticed how workmen were very succinct in getting each of the buildings in order, even though there were some that were occupied, there was still, now I know there were two entrance and exit routes. How is that gonna work for you here with just one entrance?
Well, this, that was a small little project. That was 68 units on that site itself, so it's a relatively small type of project. One of the things is that the sequencing of how we're building these buildings is I got to tell you, it's really interesting. We just broke ground on a project in the city of Stewart, another project in the city of Stewart, and it's basically just a loop street. And what we do is we start in one area and we work all the way around. So what's happened is that our on-site builder manages that traffic. And we put together a traffic control pattern. Here's our model, here's all our areas, we confine it. We have certain areas that are designated as material storage areas itself. Everything has to be very coordinated, it has to be very confined. And again, we build buildings in advance, and so this is why I was saying, the sooner that we go out on site, we don't wait till we sell a building. We'll build our model building, we'll do all our amenities, we'll build 5, 6 buildings at a time, and just as they get dried in, we'll start 5 more, and then 5 more, 5 more, 5, anywhere between 5 to 6 buildings at a time we'll start. And so what happens is that it helps expedite the building process for us. It facilitates a home buyer coming in and wanting to, sometimes they're kind of pressed for time that they sold a house and they need an outlet to get to quickly. We can do that. More importantly, for the town, every building that I build, every plan that I submit, you got submittal fees, permit fees, you got water meter fees, your flows. So that's a great thing for you all as well. You get to start to see the reap the benefit of that very quickly. And so, again, we don't wait to sell the units in order to start constructing them. It's done way in advance, and again, a minimum of 5 buildings at a time.
Okay, I think you begin to answer my question. If you're saying that you do possibly one side and work your way around.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You didn't finish that thought, so.
Yeah, again, one of the things is that we do have a secondary access, but that's for emergency purposes only, and that is not to be used by anybody, with the exception of the fire department, the police, EMT, whomever. But the way that we've set up our internal kind of like flow plan, as far as like how we're routing our vendors and all, that's exactly the way they're gonna do it. It's coming through West Place.
Thanks so much. And just a procedural thing, I'll let the record reflect that Councilwoman Green has stepped off the dais. Wasn't sure that she was going to be leaving. Okay, other questions or comments from council? Other questions or comments? Yes, and if there's any questions or comments until she returns. If not, then we'll go to Ken. Ken, you have anything from a staff perspective?
No, sir, not really. I just want to say the applicants were correct. They've been very spot on with all of their submittals, and our consultants have done a great job. I think them and the staff has done well. So it has been quite a process, but thanks to everyone that's been involved, and thanks for council's patience during this as well. There's been a lot of one-on-ones and a lot of phone calls and whatnot, so thank you for that. But otherwise, sir, that's all I have.
Thanks so much. Speaking of the consultants, we'll go to Dave. And David, if you have anything, any comments?
I have no further comments, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. Nilsa, you have any comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just to finalize, through the process, we asked the applicant to provide us more information with regard to the upcoming sales center and model homes. So the applicant indicated that the sales center will be centrally located near the Cabana Pool and will be the unit 109. So I just want to show you where will be located the sales center, which is our upcoming step. So the sales center, this is the Pool Cabana area, and will be 109. This will be the sales center, and then also the applicant mentioned that the model homes will be these units that will be also right beside the sales center. So that's just to clarify.
Okay, so 109 model.
We appreciate that the applicant has provided all the information that we have requested throughout the process.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Nilsa. We appreciate it. Okay, just before we do, we'll now go to a meeting and see if there's anything else from staff.
Sure, nothing. I have nothing further for you, Mr. Mayor. I just would like the record to reflect, and I would like the applicant's concurrence that he went over the conditions, but it sounds like there are no revisions to the conditions as agreed here tonight. So I just want to confirm with you, Dante, that that's correct.
Well, yes, however, I did ask for some consideration to be able to go out and, again, since we do, and we will provide the permit tomorrow for the, to construct West Place. However, if we're having to wait to resolve the developer agreement, and I would like the opportunity to at least be able to get on the main site and at least clear it. And again, that is the consideration that I would ask for. All this other information, I mean, we're going to be restricted before we even get to do our utility work, but I would like to at least be able to start the construction for 45th, West Place, and on-site. At least do all the clearing on-site.
And I think, basically, when is your closing? Your closing is how?
Well, if I get approved here tonight, I'll probably close in week and a half.
Again, I think as drafted, that should not be an issue.
Okay, alrighty. David, from your perspective
May I ask him a question?
as well? Yeah.
What are you gonna do
well,
with those beautiful trees that you're gonna remove?
What trees?
The trees that are on the entrance, the road?
You know, to be honest with you, I mean,
The town manager told me they belong to us. Those ones I'm talking about.
Yes, Ms. Green, that was the conversation previously. One's, any tree that has to be removed will either be relocated or replaced.
Okay, we won't talk about it then. Okay.
Okay.
We'll work with your utility consultant on the type and species and placement of those trees.
Okay, all right, thanks. Righty, so look, just before, David? We'll come right back to you, Dante.
I have no further comments at this time. I know he's referenced the water and sewer permits. In regards to restricting construction, certainly he would not be constructing until those permits would be in hand for those utilities.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying that if we had an opportunity to get out there in advance to start clearing the site in the event that that should be delayed for any reason.
Okay, right, and what we want to do is make sure that we can answer that for you. Did Van hear the statement that what their desire is to begin to go on site?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. I know everyone's chomping at the bit to get going, but I don't recommend council tonight endorse starting construction. Literally, it sounds like in the next week. At minimum, we need the dedicated right of way on West Place so they can legally construct in there. We need the fully signed plat in the town's hands. You need the bond for the construction. And I'm willing to go so far as every other permit except for water and sewer in deference to those issues. I had never received a valid Palm Beach County permit, copy of any permit for the turnout or anything. I got a draft and I received a second permit which you red lettering cross it saying this is not a valid permit. So I was willing to wait. I figured that was a draft of some sort. But the only permits that I've reviewed that are acceptable is South Florida Water Management, drainage and water use permits. I have not seen the FDEP NOI in regards to pollution control from the site. Essentially, you really need to get the paperwork in your hands to be able to make this approval stand and then start construction. Otherwise, there's a lot of loose ends. That's just my opinion for council's consideration. I think all of this paperwork that I've mentioned, everything is reasonably available and should be able to be executed and done. I'm not sure where MIDI stands on the HOA docs.
Can I respond to him very quickly?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe authorizing construction within the next couple of weeks until the bulk of this material is put in as recommended.
Van, in response to Van, we have all the permits. We will provide them to you again. And we just received our latest one here today, which we will provide you tomorrow. By no means was I looking to go out there tomorrow, because there are other documentation that does need to be provided, which he is correct. What I'm stating is that without, again, going too deep into to this one specific item, I could get all of those items solidified and have them submitted to you in a week to a week and a half. My concern is that if the issue is not fully addressed, that it gets delayed for some reason, then I'm still held up. And that is what I want to be able to just clarify.
Yes, and if I could respond, we are doing everything in our power to ensure that does not happen. So, but I can't change the permits are required for you to go out and do the work, as Van said. So the conditions as drafted in the resolution have to remain the way that they are drafted. I can't, as I sit here, as I said earlier, I can't give you the assurance at this moment, I can't speak in detail, but I do not expect you will have an issue. Given the other things that you have to get done,
Understood. However, can we just confirm that those are utility permits that we're waiting for? In order for one thing to happen, that's what's going to perpetuate utility permits, correct?
well, there are two permits that are impacted,
Sanitary
correct?
and the water, but I want to clarify for the council and for everybody here. The issue that you're trying to resolve will facilitate the approval of the FDEP sanitary sewer and the FDEP water.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. So those two permits have nothing to do with clearing the site, because I'm not doing utility work. I'm able to clear the site, but I just can't install any utilities, which we will not ever install any utilities, obviously, without those, because those require a pre-con meeting. So
Right, but
that's all I'm saying.
Right, and I don't mean to interrupt, but you also can't do any clearing without the plat being recorded. So there is plenty of time. My expectation is you will not have an issue.
But again, you know, as my lawyer always tells me, you never know what might happen, right? Something might get delayed, what if? You know, and so I'm just planning for the what if moment. That's all. I'm just trying to clarify. Yes, we've got a couple of things that we've got to put together here. Obviously, once we close on the property, perpetuates the plat, we get that done. All of these things can happen, and they can happen very quickly. I'm just saying if we get to that what if moment, then what happens? Because we can't, we would be hard pressed to own a piece of property and with all the expenditures to date, and then we're still waiting another month to go to work.
Okay. Let's see if we can clear it. Quoting Van's statement was that no construction take place, and just to sort of rehearse it and place it on the record, at a minimum, the dedicated right-of-way, the signed plat, the bond constructed except the water sewer, also the FDP information, I think was that it? All right, so that is clear and understood for the record. That's great. Okay.
I understand that. My question is, though, is that, let's just say I provide you all that information in a week and a half, 2 weeks. However, then 2 weeks go by and we still have not resolved that one outstanding issue, and now we're kind of held at bay that we can't move forward.
I'm going to defer to Amity, and I'll come to you.
And that will likely, so to get this process moving forward, the approval tonight has to be conditioned on the things that remain outstanding. They're required by the town code. So the options are move forward tonight with these conditions or don't move forward tonight. There will be other mechanisms that have to occur if there is not timely resolution. I think you know that, your lawyer knows that. The best path forward is to agree to these conditions. And
no, absolutely, and we are. I want to be on record. That's all.
And you are.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay,
Yes.
Councilman Green.
I'd just like to make a comment, but I'm making a comment to our attorney. And I was fine until he kept making these comments as if, I'm not saying threatening, but just saying, you know, I'm doing this, but if I get held up, it's you all's fault. And I keep getting that, I get that feeling when he keeps referencing and I just want to make that comment about that's the way I feel.
Understood.
Can I answer that? So it was not any threat by any means, it was just asking what happens then at that point. When we deliver on all these items that we have in this resolution that we're agreeing to, is there going to be some kind of consideration to say, okay, look, you've performed on all of these things. We think we're about 2 weeks away. We'll work with you to kind of help manage things along. We'll require, you can go ahead and get your pre-con meetings doing, go. That's all that I'm saying. By no means am I threatening anybody, so I'm not really sure how you got that interpretation.
Well, I did.
I'm just saying that, we're agreeing to all of these terms, and we will deliver on everything that we're supposed to provide you in order to move forward. But in the event if something should happen, what do we do then? That's all I'm asking, right? And I think that we resolved that.
Okay. What, Vice Mayor?
So I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dave, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I clarify one thing, that the approval for water and sewer permits is the Department of Health.
Yeah.
That's, once you get to that submittal stage, that is out of the hands of the town, the cities, or anything else. So it's not that, once that issue is resolved, that dispute or whatever, that you're immediately ready to go. You still have a step after that to obtain approval. So I just want, you know that, I know that. I just want to make sure that everyone else in the room knows that there still is a step that is a responsibility of the applicant to secure those permits with the regulatory agency.
Yes.
So there's a time there.
And in
Thank you.
response to your utility engineer, I've already talked to the final person in line to sign those, and they said as soon as they receive them, they will sign them, but at this point right now, it's out of their hands. And so, yes, we fully understand the process. I appreciate the clarification, but in order for them to approve it, they've got to get it, and right now, they're not getting it.
Okay.
So.
Ready? Vice Mayor?
I just want to make sure that what you're not saying to us, that you want us to wait until we get our information finalized before you move forward. Is that what you want to say to us?
I'm sorry?
You want to wait till we get our information finalized before you move forward? Is that what you're trying to say to us?
No, I want to move forward.
Okay.
No.
I think we all have agreed
Yeah.
that we want to look at this progress
Absolutely.
in a workable way.
Absolutely, and that's
So
all
we're
I'm
not
saying.
gonna hold anything over your head as long as what you're agreeing to is being accomplished.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm
But
glad you said
the
that.
succinct response is simply this, according to what Amity and everyone is saying, that while we certainly wish that we could have shovels in the ground last year, until all of the permits are in hand, is what is being stated here, that regardless of how and who but until all permits are in hand, no construction, is what I'm understanding, so, okay. All righty, so with that, any new information or new questions?
Can I just have for the record the definition of the on-site clearing?
On-site clearing, meaning clearing the trees. There's a couple of houses, demoing the houses.
Those have been approved and those don't require anything to do with, there are individual demolition permits that you apply for.
Yes.
And they were approved yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
In normal circumstances, they are allowed to apply for a site clearing permit. I guess they would have to request a site clearing permit per PCN since there's no unity of title.
Right, they have to get ownership and they have to, the plat is, so that's the reason.
Yes, ma'am. And obviously, with all of that comes the erosion controls and the measures, and we put all of the silt fence, we put all of that in place. But yeah, I mean, we're aware of, that there's some wood to chop here. We will work very expeditiously in providing all of that information. Obviously, we want to put this project in the ground. However, we do know that there's some items that need to be checked off the list, and I can tell you that we will be starting bright and early tomorrow, checking boxes.
Oh, good. Well, there we go. Oh, great. So I think Ben had something.
To get a demolition permit, they have to have legal access to the site, which means they will have to construct a temporary construction entrance within the existing West Place right-of-way.
Okay. Okay, I'm hitting sorry, informations?
No, that's between, that's the engineer and the building official. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Sheriff, did you say our demolition permit was approved yesterday?
The chief building official approved the
He
demolition
approved our
permit for
permit
each individual structure
Yeah.
because they're
And so technically, we do have legal access through, I guess, 45th. Is that accurate?
Well, you don't, there's no way to access it except for over the curb
I mean,
currently, right?
well,
But that, I don't know that we need to get,
but that we don't make it, that's what I'm saying, we don't, that's semantics. We have.
Yeah,
the
we-
permit-
I don't know
we
that
have
we
the
need to get
permit
that.
now to cut into it, so,
Well,
but
So just by way of,
All you've got to do is build a temporary construction permit issued by the county, and you can use the West Place right-of-way.
we have that permit we received today.
right. So I think this issue is actually resolved because before you can get to it, you got to build a temporary road at a minimum. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All righty, any other new questions, new comments? Additional information? Okay, hearing none. Staff? Okay. All righty. Amity?
Nothing, sir. Thank
David?
you.
Okay. Van? Is that nothing else as well? Okay. Seeing that we've had full discussion and there's no additional information to be shared for the record or discussed, we have clarification of the record. Recommendation has been that if indeed it is approved, then the applicant has agreed to all of the conditions stated in the proposed resolution. That being stated, and understanding that there's no additional comments or question, we'll now move to the point that we've all been waiting for, and that is, what is your pleasure as it relates to resolution number 202 I'll put on my glasses.
Mr. Mayor.
Dash 201. I think it was changed to, correct?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Alrighty, didn't change it on this one. Okay. Alright, Councilwoman Green.
I'd just like to say I wish we had, just like to make a statement that I wish that just me personally, if I had gotten this document before meeting so I could have read it all the way through. It's my first time seeing the document tonight. That's all, but I'm ready for the vote.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, with that, we're now considering Resolution 2021-01, approving the final site plan SR application number 2020-01, Meritus Homes Incorporated for 162 dwelling unit multifamily townhomes development on 12 parcels of land. That is the item for consideration at this time. What is your pleasure?
I'd like to make the motion for the approval of resolution number 2021-04.
Oh, 01. Yeah, the pending change was 401.
2021-01.
Dash 01.
04.
04?
Yes.
The resolution, my apologies. You're correct, yes.
Which is the site plan approval application for Meritus Homes as stated with all the conditions that have been reviewed and agreed upon this evening.
Thank you so much. A motion has been made to approve Resolution 202-101 with all of the conditions stated and agreed to by the applicant. Is there a second to that motion?
Just a clarification, Mr. Mayor, the resolution number is 2021-04,
Okay.
just so that the record is clear.
Okay, so noted.
It's only the project number that was changed. Sorry,
Correct.
sir.
That was my mistake. I had misquoted. I was
Sorry to interrupt.
two documents I was reading from, so my apologies. So for the record, as stated by the attorney, 2021-04. A motion has been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Second resolution 2021-01.
Okay, has been properly moved and seconded.
Is
Are
it?
there any questions on the motion?
Question.
Okay, Councilwoman Green?
I'd like to ask the attorney, is our engineer, is he okay with this before we vote for it? I mean, we are not going to revisit this. This is it, right?
This is final site plan approval. You have the letter from Van. The conditions have been
I
incorporated into
haven't
the
read
resolution.
anything. This is the first time I've seen it. This is why I asked the question.
And I can read to you his letter. Let me just get to the right
No, I
page.
just want to know if the engineer is okay with it, I'm fine.
His letter states that if the applicant agrees to the conditions, that he recommends that this be approved, that he is okay with it.
Okay, based on what the engineer says, don't read about it.
Are there?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Okay.
Okay. Whitey, any other questions on the motion? Any other comments or questions on the motion? Seeing that there's no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
No.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Albertine.
Yes.
It passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you so much. We know there's a lot of help. Oh, certainly. Okay, you're more than welcome. Right, and we thank you so much, and we look forward to having you get some shovels in the ground shortly. Okay, thanks, and you guys have a great evening. Okay, seeing that that was the only action item before us, we now have item 7A, and we'll give them, that was 7A. Okay, we'll give them just a moment, and we'll get to the next items. I'm sorry? Okay. Righty, so just before you, sorry. Okay. No, just before you leave, okay? You're not leaving? Okay. Okay, great, okay. You guys have a great evening. No, you make that decision, okay? All righty. Okay, we're going to turn back to our agenda now. We have, of course, item 7A. And this is a request for the approval of a plat by Enclave at Mangonia Park. The Meritage Group has reference in Resolution 20201-01 to SR 2020-01. Hamidi?
Thank you, sir. So this is plat approval for the same item you just heard. As I mentioned earlier, there are several parcels. They are unifying the parcels, or the overarching parcel by plat. So your approval tonight, and I'll let Van jump in if he wants to, but the town's surveyor has reviewed the plat and it meets the statutory requirements for platting. Your code states that it comes before this body. It's essentially an administrative/ministerial approval. It's a statutory requirement for a plat. I have reviewed the plat and signed off on the dedication language within the plat. As I said, the surveyor has also signed off that it meets the legal requirements under Florida law. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. Righty, are there any questions or comments, council? Any council comments or questions? Seeing none, and this is a recommendation, has met all of the requirements.
Yes, sir. And as you just approved in the previous item, the recording of the plat is a condition of the site plan approval. So as the applicant indicated, they will sign off on the plat, provide it to the town. The town will, depending on your action now, sign, and that will ultimately become recorded in the public record.
Thank you so much. So with that, Ken, you have something?
I was just going to ask Ben if he had anything. Ben, would you like to speak on the flag? Ben? Would you like to speak on the flag?
No, I'm watching.
Okay. Ben's good.
Okay, thanks. Alrighty, so we've had the clarification and the purpose for this. Are there any questions or comments? Council have any questions or comments as it relates to this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Mayor requests approval of the plat. Mayor and council request for approval of the plat.
Okay, that's a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve has been made. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion to approve.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell?
No.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Mayor Alvarez?
Yes.
It passes 41.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Okay, you guys have a great one.
Thank you all for your time, I certainly appreciate it.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and thank you. Okay, so we're going to continue on at this point in time. We're going to move on to item 8, and this, of course, is our...
My apologies, I left out public comments. We will come right after this item, so if you could announce it, I'm so sorry. We have none on YouTube so far.
Okay, alrighty. Is there any comment from anyone on the floor? Okay, hearing none. Is there anyone we have online with us?
No one online at all?
Okay. Alrighty, seeing that there's no public comment, we'll close the floor to public comment. We'll now go to our reports. Amity?
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. Manager Metcalf requested, yes, thank you, sir. As part of my legal update, over the last couple of council meetings, and I'll be brief and have the discussion that you desire to have, but I'll be brief on my end. There have been a couple of continuing comments about revisions to the code to address code enforcement issues. So town manager and I and Code Officer Cartwright have gone through the code and kind of had a couple of conversations about potential items. So I wanted to bring those before you tonight and get some direction from the council in terms of your desire and moving forward. So the four things that Bill and Ken and I have spoken about, the first is off-street parking. So the conversation has come up a couple of times about your current code and if there are improvements to be made to address types of vehicles and locations of parking. So for example, in specific zoning districts, for example? Are there specific types of vehicles that should or should not be parked there? Is there a desire at the council level for there to be a requirement that all parking be on paved surfaces or some, I'm not giving you exact language, but just the tenor of the conversations that we've had, just to kind of get your thoughts. But whether there be a requirement that it's on some kind of paved surface, and again, the types of vehicles and where they can and cannot be parked. The second item that's come up is, and I think Officer Cartwright brought this up, is the sanitation issue. I think it's particularly specific to vacant parcels, as I understand it. So is there a desire amongst the council to revise your current code to beef that up, if you will, or add regulations to ensure an expedient removal or to otherwise require vacant properties? For example, some codes require that they be fenced to discourage and to prohibit what I've been explained, I guess, as dumping or dumping of certain items, I guess, has been an issue. The third thing is, or the third item to discuss is outside storage in the residential districts. There are some properties within town, some have enclosed garages, some have not enclosed garages or the older style carport type construction. Is there a desire to have, and I'll use the terms because this is what you're familiar with, but not an outside storage necessarily approval, but is there a desire to add regulations to your code that dictate what can and can't be parked and the kind of the appearance that needs to be maintained if there are items to be stored in carports? So is that something that you all would like to address? And the final item is, again, going back to vacant properties. You do have a vacant and abandoned, we call it a vacant and abandoned store or property ordinance in your current code. Is there any revision to that you would like to make to address? Your current code says that windows have to be intact, doors have to be locked, they have to be secured, if you will, is the language in your code. Is there additional regulation that you want to see or an additional process that you want to implement to require that vacant properties be formally boarded up so that they cannot be accessed? So those are the four things that have kind of come up. We've talked about a couple of them at prior council meetings. So I wanted to put those before you and solicit direction or at least discussion. If I know it's preliminary, we can bring back certainly draft ordinance based on your direction tonight, but if there are others, feel free to add to them. But there has been a continuing conversation at council meetings on code enforcement, so we wanted to bring the items that we're aware of and get some direction. So with that, I'll end and listen.
Oh, thank you so much. Any comments or questions for me? Vice Mayor, then Councilwoman Green. Vice Mayor, then Councilwoman Green, and then Smith.
Just for clarification, you want to update or clarify or strengthen the code as regards to vacant properties?
That's the question for you all as the council is, are you satisfied with your current vacant structure ordinance, or are there additional things that you would like to see added? The specific instance that was brought to me was your current code reads that the properties have to be fenced and they have to have the doors and windows secured, but is there additional boarding up that you want to see so that people cannot as easily get into those properties?
Okay, yeah, in regards to that point alone, I definitely think it should be boarded. Council's discussion was to pursue that. But I do think the property should be boarded to prevent any additional access. The fencing is already, isn't that part of the code you say?
It's part of, so the way that the code reads is that you have to, the property must be secured. So if there are portions of a building that are not otherwise by themselves secured, the solution is to fence it in, right? If all the doors and windows are locked and you can't otherwise get in the building, then the question is, do you want to require fencing for all abandoned property? Your code as it's written and strictly construed now just says you can't access the building or property. So the interpretation has been that you need to have both the property secured and a fence around the site. I think the context that this is being discussed is more residential rather than commercial. There are additional requirements in your current code, if it's a commercial property, that have specific notice on site and have some oversight happening. So I think this is as it was brought to me, more of a residential issue, and just to get your thoughts on whether you want more in the code than is already there.
All righty, Councilman Green? I'm sorry, all done?
I definitely think you have more there. I think it should be firm and concise. But I think it gives too much leeway as the person.
Okay, all righty, Councilman Green?
Okay, thank you. I can tell the young man evidently has been working because I didn't realize there were so many. When you see cars, you don't know they are abandoned until the code enforcement people are on their job. And evidently, I got a call twice today telling me that I will be removing my cars, and I had to tell my tenant to remove his car because the tag on his car was blah, blah, blah. So I guess our codes need to be, I guess, I don't know what he said, but the people didn't know, she didn't know that if the car, how did she say it? Let me just tell the truth. A lot of us have to be taught. Come on, we call a spade, and they don't know. And if their car, they cannot afford a tag, they just leave the car there, or they take the tag off that car, and they put it on another car. And that's been happening, and they were, evidently he's correcting that. And I just want to compliment him, and I want to let you know that I complimented, so I don't know if it's updated or not. And the other one is about signs. Do we, what is our, and I thought I read, our language about abandoned signs, or signs should have some type of regulations or something? There is a sign that has been up for 20 years.
So in answer to your question, you do not have your own town-specific sign code. You adopt the Palm Beach County sign code.
That's what I'm saying. Evidently, we don't have a sign code.
I'll have to check into that specific issue with Phil to see the specific issue of an abandoned sign or an old sign. You do adopt, you are, the town's code enforcement officer can enforce the county sign code. That's adopted by reference in your code. So that's the code we follow, is the county sign code. So I will get with Phil on the specific issue, and see if there is, if that's addressed in the county code and what the resolution is. And I will let you know.
And I'd like to ask our town manager, is there a law against removing a federal sign? Alcee Hastings sign has been in the same place for 20 years, and it's still there.
Is there a law against removing it unless it's on private property?
Well, that's why I'm asking you that. I mentioned to you and everybody in the town, it's still there. It's been there ever since he's been in Congress.
It's on town right of way. There's nothing wrong with us removing it, but it's on private property.
Well, no, why no one has moved it? I can't, I'm too short to get up there and move it. I've been mentioning it for the last 10 years, and it's still there.
And I think, to your point, the better question is, what is that period of time after an election? Do we normally require signs to be removed? And I think it's normally, what is it, a couple of weeks, a week or two or three thereafter?
Again, the county sign code, this is a guess, 30 days max.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, because I work with county code enforcement in my job, you have 5 days. After 5 days, the signs must be disposed of. No municipality, government, or entity can store these signs. Possession of the signs, if during the election are taken, is a misdemeanor crime. But once the election is over, and if there's no runoffs, no further electioneering, the signs must be removed by county code within 5 days. And actually, there's some statutory language in there that they can be fined.
Okay.
He's dead now, he can't be fined.
But one of the major concerns is once they're picked up by law enforcement, code enforcement, or a town, they must be disposed of.
Okay.
Well, I just have to, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I guess now that it's been publicly mentioned, someone will remove.
That's the county ordinance.
Okay.
That someone remove Congress Hastings sign, please.
Okay. Let me see if Smith wants to defer first. He was next. Councilman Smith?
I guess I will,
Okay.
we have another discussion about, our ordinance and code in the area that we need to focus on, but, I have questions, but I'm gonna hold off on the questions. I'm gonna let Mr. Cartwright, the attorney, and the manager work that, and then I come back.
Okay.
I don't, I'm still that way.
Okay.
I
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Okay, my understanding is you and the code enforcement officer have already discussed these points, am I right?
We have, yes, preliminarily discussed issues and are now seeking direction from the council in terms of bringing back, whether it's bring back sample ordinances, eventually we'll get to the point of draft ordinances, but it's here tonight to have you have the discussion as a council and then direct us as to what you'd like us to do to move it forward, if anything.
That question just happened to come up, but I didn't really have that as my initial reason for speaking. I wanted to find out from Ms. Green, the sign that you're referring to, is that on town property or is it on private property?
You know the sign I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, on the fence, on the quick stop.
I was asking you, are you aware if that is on private property or is
I
that
have no idea. It's been in the hill, it's been in the hill section, the entrance to the hill section for 20 years. And I know everybody in the community, in this town knows the sign I'm talking about. So don't ask me as the town manager. Y'all been mentioning it to him too. They
I'm just saying that because the town has no authority to remove sign on private property. The town can only make an ordinance for the property owner to do it.
Mr. Mayor.
So that's the question. I just want to clarify.
I understand. Let me say this. Why are we making an argument about the congressman's sign that's been there for 20 years?
I wonder that too.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm saying. Come on, y'all.
okay, so let's do this. If the code allows, because just my general understanding, and that was clarified by Detective Wood, excuse me, this mask, Detective Wood, is that you have 5 days. Everyone here has run an election, and you know that you can't leave a sign anywhere on a thoroughfare if you put it there legally on private property, anything else, beyond that period of time because the election is over. There's no active campaign at that point. And unfortunately, the most genteel way to say it, well, we know that Mr. Hastings is no longer with us, right? So there's no campaign active. So the sign should be removed. And generally what has happened, and what I've, during the course of things where we've seen people put it like out in the median, the town has removed them because number one, they should not be in the median. The town has removed them, called the campaign, gave them the opportunity to come and get the signs, and if they don't get them within a certain period of time, then we discard them. Similarly with that sign, we have the ability, and I think rhetorically, yes, to remove it. We can call the campaign or the office, or if it's still in place, ask if they want to get, if they want the sign, and if not, then we discard it.
On private property, with the site of the property owner. We have to move forward with the site of the property owner to have the sign in.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Alrighty, so issue resolved. Alrighty, so we'll proceed with that on tomorrow. Okay, great. Alrighty. Now, as it relates to the codes, of course, we can't go through and solve it all tonight. A suggestion would be that I think I may mention maybe some templates. You may mention perhaps there's some
sample language.
Sample language.
Okay.
We get that, and we kind of go through it. We take a look at it, and if we need to, feel free to get with Ken, kind of share. He'll coordinate things, and that way because we can't go through and do it tonight. We don't have them in front of us. So the suggestion would be that we get some suggested language. That way you're able to respond. But I always like to see this in there as well, and then we can sort of beef it up. Okay? As a suggestion, is that agreed? We handle it that way? Okay, great. So we handled it that way. Right, that's what everybody's heard in terms of what you'd like to see. Okay? Righty. Anything else omitting?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you, council.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so we'll get that and we'll proceed. Alrighty. Okay.
As my report's standards here, the only thing over the last couple years with the passage of the enclave, there was a big concern, especially from some of the residents that have directed it to me, and I wanted to bring it to the council's attention and management about the construction trucks going through Jeffrey and South Place. Sir, That neighborhood is fully posted, and we will be monitoring that, and it's $166 per citation when a truck goes through there. We will be enforcing it. The only thing I beg the management to do is the sign on South Place needs to be straightened so that we can have full visibility, so that we can enforce that. And I wanted to bring that to the attention of all the council and management and you, sir, to make sure that we address that problem that people voiced in the community. If there's no other questions, thank you, sir.
All right, thanks so much. Any questions or comments for
Yes.
Sergeant Councilman
All
Smith?
right, are we due with the attorney's recommendation that we work on getting the language of that, so I have something kind of need to move forward with.
Yes, the suggestion was, she's, right, we're going to get some draft language, and then we can take that and work with that, and,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so, but I have a question then, since we're kind of on this conversation about the different things, parking and everything. My thing is that I'm noticing, when it comes to signs, street signs, and you kind of remind me, you're saying the South Place sign needs to be moved a little bit because of some obstruction. I'm looking at the signs for Golf Place Hill section, Pioneer, Bryn Mawr. They're extremely, some are sitting low, some are definitely old. What are we doing? There are streets. I can't say they're 45th streets. They're not West Palm, there are streets. What are we gonna do as far as refreshing them or replacing them? But some of those are kind of beat up, sitting low, antique, probably, just not sighting to the eye. I'm talking stop signs, I'm talking yielding signs, sign period. And I can't think of all of Magnolia, but they're in such a terrible condition to the eye. Can we focus on that? And I know that may be a budget thing on there. If not, that's something that needs to be addressed eventually. We can make an agenda item, but.
Okay, well, certainly.
You know.
Okay, right. Now, of course, council can provide direction to the town manager to have Public Works go out and identify all of the signs that need replacing, and then information brought back to us for discussion.
Well, I'm definitely open if you dialogue to it. I don't know the method how we go about it. You kind of gave a good idea, but it just needs addressing because they're even the ones that, most recent ones that we have on the certain property where they don't want parking. Those signs are up and some got painted over them. It's just in bad shape.
Well, certainly.
That's something that I hope we can kind of give direction to.
Well, certainly. And I'm sure the town manager would just do it freely, but let's just, right, but we'll give, okay, we'll give actual council directives. Councilman Green, see if we get consensus. We want to go out and take a look at all of the signs that need to be replaced. Councilman McConnell? Okay, Vice Mayor? All righty. Okay, so the council is providing direction to the town manager to go out and assess, and do an assessment of all the signs that need to be replaced, and information back to us. Okay, all righty. Okay, so directed. Okay, great. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, all righty, and
Since we're talking about signs, I do know, and I should have reminded the town manager about this, about the streets that have, these large vehicles like on Briarwood that are still coming through that area. We used to have, signs that were limiting certain weights of vehicles coming through. So I don't know we're gonna have those returned, or is that overruled, or what?
Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt, but we just recently installed, new signs at the end of every street in the Hill section, coming off Hill Avenue.
Okay.
No truck signs, no left turn signs, so that recently, now as far as the weight goes, I don't think we have those.
Okay.
I don't think it's a weight limit, it's just no trucks, no through traffic.
Okay, but then I want to definitely direct to law enforcement to keep an eye on the Hill section, because I know on Briarwood Street, I have seen several large trucks.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, I have to follow guidance from FDOT, and that's why I'm going to bring up, actually, the deputies are out doing that again tonight. because that was one of my questions that I got hit by residents of Bryn Mawr to make sure I addressed, was that we will be enforcing that, writing the tickets. Because no one's seen lately, we've had a lot of motorcycle and other cars here in the town of Mangonia Park, and our traffic enforcement has definitely gone up very heavy lately. But we'll work with the town management, make sure we identify that and help out with that. In fact, tonight would be a good night to start so that we can facilitate that with the town manager.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Ready? Okay. Councilman Smith?
I'm gonna talk to you, since we opened that dialogue, I definitely want, all the, residents, or neighborhoods throughout the entire town. It definitely, not, how can I put it, those signs, those not really serviceable, they're faded, and some of them treated. So it's a big deal.
Okay. All right, and we'll get that assessment from the town manager, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay. All righty. Certainly. Okay. Omitting?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yep, I'm set. Thank you, sir.
I didn't have on my reading glasses. I'm sorry. Okay, Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, I'll shorten my 200-page report to 189 pages.
Let's try 50.
I'm sorry.
We'll go to 50.
Thank you, Mr. Solano.
Just three quick items. First item is, we were talking about code enforcement. We do have our new code enforcement officer on duty, Mr. Rob Major, and he has worked 2 days already and is making a big splash in town, in particular in the business districts, and he's going to do a great job, and he's already bringing in, taking names and numbers and all that good stuff, and he's going to do a good job for us and help us catch up on the BTRs and outside service permits. So that was the first thing. The other thing is, on your previous agenda that went out, there was a recognition of citizen Mary Wallace and her son. There was a request made late this afternoon to postpone that so she could have additional relatives come in for that ceremony. And the request is also, her off night is Mondays. So what we may do within the next 2 to 4 weeks is have a special call meeting on a Monday, recognize Ms. Wallace, and we may use that opportunity to go into a budget workshop immediately following that. We'll see how that goes, but just to give everyone an update on what happened there. I think the clerk sent out some information late in the afternoon about that, so we are going to recognize Ms. Wallace and her son. And the third thing, the mayor hosted a vaccination pop-up site here a week ago Sunday. We did have 19 people come out and get vaccinated, or at least the first shot, and that's not bad. That's 19 people that didn't have it before. So, good job to the mayor, and we also want to thank Reverend Masters for his assistance in that. For the staff that came in, very helpful, very friendly, and we had some enthusiastic residents that came for that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Mr. Mayor, that's all that I have.
Okay, all right, thanks so much, we appreciate it. All righty. Okay, David, you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks so much. Nelson, you have any last minute? Okay, thanks. We'll go right now to council. Councilman Green, have anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we all are familiar with the president's infrastructure legislation, and I noticed Palm Beach County got first dibs on it. They put all this millions in Curry Park, and it stated that could we get any money from county commissioner, our county commissioner, to see could we get any money from that infrastructure legislation to pave the roads, especially the hill section. Because our roads in Bryn Mawr are not bad, but they need paving. But hill section really, they even have dirt roads. Is there any way we could possibly talk to Mac Bernard, Mr. Mayor, and try to get him to if we could get some of that? I know we can, Curry Park got it before the bill even hit the paper. And do something about the roads in our little town?
Okay. No, Lisa, I know Van has already, our engineer has already gone through and assessed the town. I know Van, our engineer, has already gone through and assessed the town. And remember, we got that list of this hierarchy of need as it relates to the roads. Now, the hill section, of course, are all paved. There may be some place here and there, but to your point, we'll get back with our engineer because he had already done an assessment for us. But yes.
No, I'm asking, could we talk to our Commissioner Mac Bernard and see can he get us some money from the President's infrastructure bill that's already in Palm Beach County for the streets in our town?
Right. Okay. So let me just address that specifically, and I'll see if I'll correct it if I misstate. At one of the previous meetings,
I didn't hear you correcting.
Right. At one of the previous meetings, it was indicated that out of that legislation, I think we're getting $800 and something thousand. So what we got to do is get with the county. I guess the county is the eventual grantee that sort of awards or disperses it. So yes, we'll speak with our commissioner just to make sure that it's not hung up somewhere. But it has been earmarked. If I'm not mistaken, at the last North County Mayor's meeting, they made $800 and something thousand is what Todd was stating, that Assistant Administrator for the county was stating we should be getting. But we'll double check and make sure I'm correct. Ken?
In follow-up to that, Ms. Green, we did speak with Jonathan Brown late last week from Housing and Economic Sustainability. That department will be, I guess, monitoring or governing that grant opportunity. And,
You mind repeating to me what he said, please?
I'm sorry?
Would you mind repeating to me what he said? I didn't hear what the mayor said.
The mayor was referencing the $800,000 that we believe the town is going to get.
Yes.
And in reference to that $800,000, I asked Jonathan Brown from the county last week how that's going to come about and exactly what's going to be, what rules and limitations are going to be placed on that. And there's not a good answer yet, but that would be a good resource. So to the mayor's point, as far as we know, the town is going to get $800,000 plus, and we're not sure of the limitations on it. But I'm sure at some point it'll come back to council as how to spend that money within the limitations.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Is that 800,000 from the state of the
That's part of the president's stimulus.
It's called the rescue plan. It's part of the federal package that you were speaking about.
So you're saying, Mr. Mayor, we already have 800,000 from the infrastructure money?
Yes, a little over 800,000 has already been earmarked for the town of Mangonia Park. It's just a matter of how that's going to flow to the town, and so we have to just kind of follow up on the process.
And what limitations?
But Mr. Metcalf, if we get, I know I'm a member of this council, and I'm proud to know that we get money from the state or from the Congress. But those information like that, I feel that we should know. I wouldn't have known. I don't know, maybe I would have brought it up. I didn't even know we had it.
I think 2 meetings ago that was introduced.
No, it couldn't have been, just the legislation just hit the paper this week, so never.
Introduced, and the attorney spoke up and said she would get some information, which she
All right.
did, and I sent out to everyone.
Anyway, the other, the streetscape, infrastructure 74. I forgot the other one. Never mind. Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Councilwoman Green?
No.
Okay. All righty. McConnell?
Same thing. Everybody be safe. Wear your masks. Thing's not over.
Long shot.
Anybody who thinks it is
it's not.
I don't know what to call them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Councilman Smith?
I'm just proud that we're moving. I won't say the speed that we're moving, but since we're moving, that makes me have hope. So government works. I won't question the pace of it working, but it's a lot of work that they'll have to be done. So I'm excited to know that that allocated package that the Biden did to love the town of Magnolia Park, I guess we can say the check's in the mail. So I'm excited about that, and I'm quite sure we'll figure out the disbursement of it and what areas they need to be going into. So government deal works despite all the bipartisans. Government works.
Certainly. Okay. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I just have one point I wanted to share. I had 4 cases of hand sanitizer bottles, small bottles delivered to my home, and I wanted to share them with the town. Did you all receive any of these cases of hand sanitizers, bottles that you can give out?
We'll take them.
Okay. I'll have them in my car right now, so we can give them as a
Sure.
That's it. That's all for me.
Okay, and I have nothing. I can share that we did have that on last Sunday. So with that, if there's nothing else for the good of the order?
Mr. Mayor, can I correct a misstatement I made, if you don't mind for 1 second?
Certainly.
Sir, it's not 5 days, it's now been amended to 10 days.
10 days.
So that the signs, public and private property, have to be removed.
Okay, so 10 days.
Thank you, sir.
After elections.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
10 days after election. No,
Okay, thanks. And so noted. Thanks. I appreciate it. Okay, with that, seeing that there's no other business before us, a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
That's a second. Has been properly moved in second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is carried. Thank you so much, everybody, for your good work, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Let's see. Yeah, it was coming from another location, so I was coming from another location, so I'm not sure how affected it was. I didn't get any calls. So I don't know if it's the grid that you're on. I know we got